So the concerns are based in the fact that soy has behavior that's estrogen-like. So we think about soy as being a phytoestrogen or estrogen-like, and for the longest time there's been concern that if you have these products, because it is estrogen-like, it will increase your risk of estrogen-related cancers. And there's been this myth that really has been perpetuated that if you're at risk for cancer, breast cancer, endometrial cancer, or you've had breast or endometrial cancer, or any other type of estrogen-dependent cancer, you can't eat these products.
So what did the study look at?
So it looked at exactly that, and I think that's so exciting about this because it's actually evidence-based. It looked at 4 different markers that estrogen will drive. It looked at 40 randomized controlled trials over 3,000 women between the ages of midlife or so over an extended period of time. And they either consumed soy or there was a control group that didn't have soy. Then subsequently, they went to look at markers of what an increased estrogen might drive. So if soy is like estrogen, then it would behave like estrogen. So they measured estrogen levels in the population that did consume it and didn't consume it. They looked at the thickness of uterus lining, because if you have too much estrogen, it will drive the lining to become thicker. It looked at the impact of estrogen in the genitourinary area, because estrogen does impact that area, and we can do a maturation marker to look at how much estrogen is locally in that area. And then we looked at follicle stimulating hormone. That's a brain hormone that responds to estrogen. So in the presence of estrogen, it comes down. In the absence of estrogen, it goes up. So that's a very robust study looking at downstream effects of estrogen. And what they found was that you looked at these individuals who did have soy versus those that didn't have soy. There was no change in any of these markers. There was absolutely no evidence that soy that you are ingesting is going to drive any of these estrogen-related changes.
So people should then feel safe to eat soy. And there's a range of soy products.
There's a range, yeah, and you're right about that. But yes, your statement about eating soy products is actually so critical and important. Many North Americans don't. So one of the reasons that we do want to think about increasing our protein from vegetable sources, and this would be a good example, is that we know that it is favorable for reducing the risk of heart disease. We know that actually there is a decrease in endometrial, breast, and prostate cancer with the consumption of these products. And we also know that many of the myths that tie soy to cancer are based in animal studies. And one of the things that this has taught us is that the way estrogen responds to estrogen receptor in an animal is not the way it does in a human being. So the studies in animals do not apply to human beings, and this is one of the first studies that has looked at large numbers consuming soy and can say there is no relationship between the ingestion of soy and the concern that it is behaving like an estrogen. More benefit than harm.
Right, and there's so many soy products out there.
Absolutely.
This is changing the way I eat. I've been afraid to have it.
Well, and there is that sort of mythical belief that if I've had cancer or if I'm at risk of cancer, I can't. So you think about soy lattes and soy proteins and edamame and soy in terms of tofu. And yes, and it's a very healthy protein that's not animal-based. And we do want to increase our vegetable and plant-based protein, and we have for the longest time known that it's favorable for heart disease. And it makes sense that if it doesn't bind to these receptors, not only do you not see an increase in these cancers, you may actually see protection from these cancers. So good news for North Americans who have been avoiding soy.
Yeah, the menu has just expanded. Dr. Marla, thanks so much. Appreciate you being with us on this.
See you next time.